X-Men 97. What the hell? That show is amazing. It's absolutely insane. I can't believe how good it actually turned out thus far. Again, this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning, but it's kind of nuts how good it's turning out so far. So, I definitely want to talk about it, and we gotta get some opinions and some get back, some recollections, and yeah, we gotta throw it back because let's face it, the original animated series X-Men that was on Fox Kids was pretty is some big shoes to fill, some pretty big shoes to fill, and to say that there could be a predecessor that can actually knock it out of the park, it was gonna be tough, and I definitely am a skeptic, especially with the current climate of movies and shows that have been recently coming out over the past like 10 years, I'd say. Stuff has not been good. So when they announced X-Men 97, I wasn't excited. I legit didn't even care. I thought it wasn't going to be something like kind of like a meh. But then I saw the first episode, and then I saw the second episode, and holy cow. Holy cow. The damn thing is knocking out of the park so far. I can't speak on any of the new episodes because we haven't seen it yet, but right now the show is kicking ass. So I'm pretty excited so far. Showed off the okay, so I guess let's start off with this. The animation. Let's start off with the animation. The animation was okay. But I think that's what they were trying to go for, since they were emulating the original X-Men animation, I guess. And when it came to the original X-Men, the animation wasn't the best, and that's because they were cutting corners. They had to cut corners. Well, they didn't have to, but they definitely did their best to cut all the corners they possibly could with the show to save money, to get it out to the peoples, and that makes sense. The best that they could do was rehash some of the animations and kind of loop some things here and there, and we kind of didn't see it when we were kids, but now as we're adults, we're like, oh yeah, I totally noticed that. Now, the crazy thing is that you see the actual difference in the bump in animation when it comes to some of the like crazy fight scenes and stuff. What I've noticed is that in certain aspects, especially when they're doing like talking points, or they're like the characters are talking about something specific, and they're doing like the sort of dialogue between characters and stuff, animation isn't the best. But when you get to the fight scenes, when you get to the actual action scenes, action scenes, anything that requires a lot more, the animation completely bumps up. And they did that a couple of times when the characters are fighting the bad guys. And spoiler alert, when I noticed when Cyclops is fighting the bad guys in the warehouse, the animation looks crazy smooth and really good. But then when he's like talking to some of the other characters, like let's say at the mansion, it definitely isn't as smooth as you see it in other aspects. I noticed the same thing when they were trying to rescue the rich snotty the rich uppity kid. He ran away, and then he made it to a club, a music he made it to like an underground music club or whatever. And then you see Jubilee dancing, and then when you see the animations of Jubilee, there's literally a part there where you don't even she's not even animating. It's literally just like frames. It's her like going frame by frame, and they're cutting it just to save animation frames of her dance. And it was the funniest thing. I'm like, oh man, this is bad. But it didn't matter, because later on in that same episode, when they get into another fight towards the end against the Sentinels, animation is going crazy. It's like seeing the animation of the intro of one of these old school Saturday morning cartoon shows, right? That specifically like go out of their way to hire or to outsource an animation studio to make the intro, but then you actually go to the show and it's pure hot dookie. I've noticed that they do that a lot with comic books as well. Like the cover art looks insane. Catch your eye. Oh my god, this thing looks nuts. I gotta get this comic book. And then you open up the pages, and none of it looks as good as the front. That's just that's just supposed to happen. But I've never seen it where the show actually cuts corners on certain aspects of the show and then really bumps it up towards the end or during a specific time, like say a fight scene. So that was pretty badass. So I get where they're going with that, and it's definitely catering to the basic. It's basically catering to the fans of the original show, and they know they've grown up, and they know exactly where they're going to really, I guess, critique some of the stuff that they're watching, which is literally the fight scenes. People want to see really cool fight scenes, really good animations and that stuff, and that's where you could tell they put the budget in. I actually don't know what the budget is on the show, but they still did a kick-ass job. So box art's tactics is amazing. It's freaking hilarious. All right, down to the characters. Holy cow! I can even talk about Morph. Morph was drastically different well, I wouldn't say drastically different because character-wise, he's kind of the same snarky, creepy guy, right? But in this one, I generally don't know, and I don't know if that's like a real thing. I thought Morph just morphed into the characters that he saw or that he was trying to emulate. I didn't know that he adopts the powers of the other characters. That completely changed the dynamic of the character in this show. In this show, he not only morphs into those characters, he becomes those characters. He adopts he adopts the actual powers of those characters. And I'm like, bro, this character's broken. Like, this character is straight up busted. Are you serious? You're telling me he can like change into not just Cyclops, but Colossus? He can change into Colossus, be completely invulnerable. From what? Because he changed into the character? He's only supposed to look like the character. He isn't supposed to have their powers. But there is a moment where the character legit changed into fucking Colossus and had the powers of Colossus. And they were like hitting him and it didn't even matter. He also changed into Angel, I believe, and was basically able to fly. Why should he be able to do that? He shouldn't be able to do that, but he was doing that. So it was like, okay, sure. I don't know. Is that the original story of Morph, or is that something that they just said, we're going to do that here? Because again, if that's the case, he's busted. He's completely broken. He can do whatever he wants at that point. Here, I'll just change into Storm and do whatever I want. Or, I'll change into Jean Grey and literally have her powers throughout the entire story. So I don't know what's going on there. But Morph is, like I said, in that aspect, drastically different from what he was before. But he was kind of weak sauce before. Bishop in the show seems like he's kind of a jobber right now. It's cool that he's on the team and that he has a role, but it doesn't seem like he has much to do because his story is kind of over. He was sent back in time to stop the assassination of like a senator or something like that, and I guess that already happened because a lot of the stuff that happened in the original X-Men animated series seems to have already happened. And so now we're farther in the future where, Xavier has gotten assassinated, and now everyone's trying to figure out what to do with themselves at this point. I find it kind of funny that everyone's like kind of freaked out that Cyclops and Jean were like, oh, we're going to quit the team now, and we're going to go and do our own thing. And then everybody's like, oh, well, what do we do for a leader? We don't know who to look for. And I'm like, bro, Storm has been like a basic second in command for like the longest time. Outside of Cyclops, Storm has always been the go-to when it comes to leadership for the rest of the cast. And you noticed that when she was at the courthouse, when she was literally like instructing everybody on what to do in times of a crisis. Like, she was a shoo-in. So I don't understand why everybody was like so worried about trying to find a new leader after Cyclops. Like, of course it's Storm. Like, come on, what are you talking about here? What are we talking about here? In any case, Cyclops and Jean having the baby, which I think, I can't remember his name, but he's supposed to be crazy busted as well. Once the kid character becomes like a teenager or an adult. I remember reading the comic where their kid is insanely powerful, but then there's Mr. Sinister, who is also creates like a genetic anomaly version of their kid, and he becomes super powerful as well in the not so distant future. So a lot of regardless of the name of the kid, that kid is supposed to be crazy powerful later on. Now I remember they talked about it's supposed to be Cable, but I think Marco, I think you're right. I think it's Nathan is the name of their kid. But for these first 2 episodes, we haven't actually seen the actual name of the kid, so we'll just go with speculation on that, on what the kid will actually be. But I don't think it'll be Cable. I'm just gonna go off on a limb. I don't think it'll be Cable. I think it'll actually be Cable's name is Nathan. There's another kid then. There's absolutely another kid. I remember seeing that he was like insanely powerful, and it might have been Sinister's version of the kids or whatever like that. I can't remember it. Yeah, he creates a clone of Jean Grey so that he can have Cyclops, and so she can have Cyclops' son. That's what it is. Strife is his brother. Yeah. You mean Legion? No. Cyclops is, I'm sorry, the alternate Jean Grey, or the one that Sinister actually made, that kid actually turned out to be a character called X-Man, and he was literally like a Dragon Ball character. Like, he would just fly around and shoot heat beam eye blasts, going crazy all over the place. And apparently he was so powerful that he only had a certain amount of time to live or something like that. So that's a whole other story. But the reason why I'm talking about Sinister is because, again, another spoiler, Jean legit sees the character in her vision. It was like really quick when she was going through the mind of the guy that assassinated Xavier. But yeah, it was kind of nutty. He's from the future, so he has so powerful as Cyclops' son is. Yeah, exactly. Like Cable is the legitimate son of Jean and Cyclops, but then you had the clone son of Cyclops and I guess the clone Jean or whatever like that. So again, that's like, that story goes all over the place. The story just goes beyond anything. Kenny, you wanna do a Discord? You want to do a Discord and start and talk about this madness? Because god damn, this shit was crazy. You know what it was? It was actually a pleasant surprise. And I think the reason for that is the fact that I was not expecting much. I had little to no faith that this was actually going to be good. There's just been too many disappointments when it comes to Marvel and DC the past few years. And I haven't had much of a desire, I guess it is, to really watch anything that is, like I wouldn't say a spin-off show, but like an experimental, animated show that they were gonna do the characters, and I was like, this doesn't seem like it's gonna be. I saw the initial trailers and I was like, it could be okay, but I didn't like the animations. I didn't. It felt like they were pandering. It felt like they were pandering to the audience to hit them with the nostalgia boners, like hit them with that nostalgia kick. And I felt like there wasn't going to be any love behind it. They were just trying to get us into nostalgia. Yeah. So, okay, I'm gonna ask Bruce first. Bruce, first impressions, go.
What?
Yeah.
Please, bro, I wasn't ready. What the fuck? All right, I thought it was pretty good, but same thing. Animations look a little janky.
Right, bro? I'm telling you.
But hold on. I didn't notice it because I was getting into it. So
yeah,
exactly. When you get into it, you don't notice it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. The story
the
was so well done.
Yes.
Yeah, the story was actually pretty well done to the point where you don't notice it. The only time I really noticed it, and that's when I started looking for it, was during the dance sequence when what's her name?
Jubilee.
Yeah, when Jubilee is literally dancing in the club. Like you could see it's not even animated. It is literally frame by frame of how they're animated. I was like, what is going on? It took me out so quickly. But then you get to the part where they're fighting the Sentinels in the junkyard, and holy crap, the shit is bumped up to 10. The animations are crazy smooth, and you could tell it feels like it was a completely different studio or something like that that just decided that we're gonna put a lot of budget into this particular fighting scene, and everything turned out to be really smooth. So you could tell that they knew exactly where to spend the budget to put the animations on parts that were important, because no one's gonna notice Jubilee's fucking dancing. No one cares, right? Like, so it was actually kind of crazy. Aspects of the characters actually were done well. I like the fact that they humanized Wolverine when Jean was about to go into labor, because he was such a badass, right? But then when she got into labor, he started panicking and started like, he was gonna run over a puppy. Was he gonna run over a puppy? Like, what was going on there? Yeah. Like, it was kind of hilarious, bro. But Kenny, first impressions, go.
Freaking fire, dude. Absolutely fire.
Yeah.
And like, like I have actually the same exact things like from you and SoulBruceLee. Like, some of it like will take you out because like, I forget the name of that cartoon, but it's that one cartoon where the guy's like a spy or some shit like that. Archer, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The Archers, things like that. But I think, but then once you start really getting into the story and they start talking, it kind of goes out the window because you're mostly focused on the great dialogue, the great writing.
Yeah.
And yeah. Then when the action sequences come on, you're like, God damn. And here's the secret. The original show was really jank too.
Yep. Yeah, no, absolutely.
Crazy jank.
That's what I was saying about like Dragon Ball. Like Dragon Ball didn't have perfect frames in its animation either.
Yeah.
So the original, you're talking about the original Dragon Ball Z?
Yeah.
Yeah, the original Dragon Ball Z, they cut corners left and right. They definitely
even
did.
in the beginning of Super, the beginning of Dragon Ball Super was way budget, because like Dragon Ball got better through the years and stuff like that. So when I got to Frieza, the shit was much better. But then Super came out, and Super was like mad basic, and then it got good. So, but yeah, like the OG X-Men cartoon was kind of like budget, but like as a kid, you were just so happy. You kind of didn't notice it.
And that's the problem, is that as adults, we start to notice. As adults, we're going to notice that
glasses,
shit.
Because like people are like, oh my God, this show's going to be, and I'm like, look at the original. Like, when like people were making fun of like the new He-Man show, and I'm like, dude, look at the original He-Man. That shit was barely even animated. Yeah. And like, it's kind of like with the OG X-Men, it was kind of like some of the scenes you look and you're like, wow, that was
I think that the issue is that we know as adults that they can't spend all the money on everything.
No, exactly.
Like, we know for a fact that they can't do that.
It's expensive. Dude.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
You know what did it beautifully was Batman the animated
series. The animated series. God damn.
They did that shit beautifully. But I think they had a really good plan, or a really good storyboard artist.
I absolutely think that WB at the time gave them a budget. Like, I think that was a real kicker there, is the fact that they got that, as opposed to what we're getting now with like a Netflix series or a Disney series or whatever like that. Yeah. They're gonna cut corners left and right.
But Steve, as me and you, we always have to say that freaking WB animation back in the day was always top tier.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
Like, and it's funny, the thing is ex Marvel animations were like rough. Always have been, bro.
So me and
you were like marks for WB, like all those animated
absolutely
features.
Phenomenal. You had animations for Batman Beyond, Justice League, Superman series, a Young Justice. Like, you go back and look at those cartoons
too, they hold up.
Absolutely insane. Now, when it comes to the characters, what did you guys think of Morph? Like,
Yeah, no, it was like it was like the same. He was kind of creepy, but it was kind of cool that he was like Wolverine's homie. He was like one of the only guys that really understood Wolverine.
Well, that's the thing, is that's the reason why Wolverine in the original series was so, butthurt about his passing, because they were like super homies before that. I don't know if that's a comic book thing. I'm assuming it is, but like the fact that Wolverine was one of the main characters I was so pissed off or was so devastated about Morph's passing, that it became a thing. I am a little disappointed on Bishop's role right now. He doesn't seem to have much to do. This is why they had him.
Well, he's stuck there, yeah.
Yeah, he's just sort of there right now. He isn't really doing much. He's kind of there. At least, like, let's say somebody like Beast. Like, he has a role to play where he's giving out the information about, what the characters are doing scientifically and stuff like that. And that kind of helps out. And then, Rogue and Gambit have their own a thing going. But I just feel like Bishop's sort of out of place right now. It doesn't feel like he doesn't really need to. He's just there. Like, it doesn't really feel like he needs to do anything. Maybe they could have traded him out for Psylocke. Like, I think that would have been a better call. Like, Psylocke would have been a great addition. Why? Because I've never seen Psylocke in anything. Like, almost all of the iterations of X-Men, where it comes to, Wolverine in the X-Men, or X-Men Next Generation and all this shit, Psylocke has never been in there. Like, it's crazy. But yet, in the comic book, she's like a major part of the X-Men. So it's kind of weird that she's still not a part of the team in that aspect. Now, when it comes to the outfits, they really kept it OG. Like,
thank God.
Yeah. I don't know what the fuck Magneto's wearing, but is it just like I don't. What the fuck, bro?
It's weird.
Yeah, dude, is that like some tidy whiteys or something? Like, is he wearing?
It was like House of M or something.
Right, it's the House of M. So is that original comic books? Chat, you gotta tell me.
That's in the comic books.
That's in the comic book. So that shit is tight on that man, bro. That shit is looking crazy, bro. I'm like, yo, are you serious right now? And when it comes to what Gambit was wearing when he was like cooking, he was cooking in the
90s,
kitchen.
Man, 90s rock man.
Bro, he was full. I was like, what the hell am I looking at, bro? I was like, oh no, what is this guy coming with? So again,
it was the 90s though.
I guess, yes, it's the 90s.
They got the feel down.
They are catering to a specific audience that came from that era, and they're like, hey, check this out. You remember this? And you're like, oh shit, I remember people rocking that way back in the damn 90s. So,
but here's the thing, it was cheese, but it was like good cheese.
It's good cheese. I guess, yes.
Because when the time it was like, it was just cheesy, but like then it's like, okay, here's how the show is. And like, like even with Wolverine being like it captured the cheese of the original show, but without doing it overboard.
Right, yeah, without going overboard and stuff like that. I mean, the characters still look original and they're still pretty badass. So no, they did actually they put it in a respectful way, I guess, where they didn't try to oversell it. You know what I mean? And that's really good, I guess.
Because like even in the OG, there was like an episode of like Wolverine. He had a big chicken on his claw, and he's eating a chicken. I think that's when he met Spider-Man.
What?
And he's like, "Hey, bub, yeah." So in one of the cartoons, Wolverine had a big cooked chicken in his claw, and he was talking to Spider-Man. He's like, "Hey, bub," and he's eating a fucking chicken out of his claw. The shit was 90s as fuck.
Yo, okay,
that was like wasn't it the Thanksgiving episode?
Yeah, I believe.
Oh,
he's
no
like
way.
Yeah.
Oh, get out of here. That's crazy. So when it comes to the writing, holy crap.
Yes.
Dude, I got chills when Magneto did his speech.
Oh, good lord.
To the I guess not Congress, but it's to the Supreme Court, I guess it is. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
When he did his speech to the Supreme Court, holy hell, dude, I got chills because man, they were really hitting the nail on the head with actual philosophy on how humans should be treating each other in today's society.
It's about real life, and that's what X-Men
It
is.
is
And
very,
what
very.
people
It
fucking
is
miss about X-Men.
X-Men don't miss. X-Men don't miss. Listen. X-Men in the original animated series, a lot of people do not remember this. In the original animated series, they hit a lot of notes on a very controversial issues. They hit a lot of stuff about racism. They hit a lot of stuff about abuse at home as well. They hit a lot of stuff about bigotry. And there's one episode that a lot of people do not remember. They hit a very, very hard note on religion. That was with Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler, yes. There was a big episode where Nightcrawler actually had a very deep conversation with Wolverine, who was atheist at the time, and he was giving him a very, like, he wasn't lecturing him, but he was just introducing him to why he had a very a big belief in Christ. And I'm telling you right now, there is no way that any Saturday morning cartoon in today's society would have anything close to anything like that. So yes, X-Men has been doing that for a very long time, and in this show they're bringing that back. They're bringing back the hard conversations, I think, when it comes to just how people treat each other and some of that stuff that goes. Now again, the dynamic between Xavier and Magneto is the literal dynamic between Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. Everybody knows this at this point. So the speech that Magneto gives at the end hits very close to home, and it is very relatable. But the way that they put it together, when they had the enemies come in and attack, and then he saves the people in the Supreme Court, was a great way to introduce the idea of
very modern.
The way that I introduced the idea of Magneto as a good character. Will he turn later on in the episode, in the series? Not
expecting that, dude. Right? Like,
I don't know. Like, I don't think there is an actual comic book where Magneto is a legit good guy, right?
He's taken over the X-Men before.
He has. Okay, so no, I didn't know that. Yeah, I didn't know he actually that was an actual official comic book thing. Okay.
The oppressed becoming the oppressor.
Yeah, exactly. Jeez. And it was kind of nuts.
And like at that point, you didn't know. You didn't know Magneto's like, you know what, dude? Okay, I tried.
Right.
Dumb,
so
bro. The whole time he's saying that, bro, you were just like, yeah, he's done, bro. This guy is on this medallion. He's going to get
like, bro, I could have sworn that that's where they were going with the story. Yes. Like, I was like, oh, okay, so he's gonna murder them, and then we're gonna get like that dynamic between those characters trying to fight him again. And it was like, no, he actually legit, or quote unquote, he wants to be better because of the passing of Xavier.
Yeah.
This was a great outlook on, or I guess a retelling of the X-Men, because I guess we're all kind of tired of the same dynamic of, oh, the X-Men are going after Magneto and Magneto's a bad guy. Let's retell the story in a different way. Bruce, what do you guys say?
I was gonna just say, like, Charles and Eric, they always respected each other no matter what. Like, that's the big dynamic between both of them.
Yeah, absolutely. So regardless of their differences throughout the
they all want the same thing. They just go about it different ways.
Different ways, exactly. And again, that was the exact same dynamic between MLK and Malcolm X, is that they respected what each other were doing. They just wanted the same thing, but from different aspects of life. And these two characters were written around those characters. Now, when it comes to the actual history of those characters, understand, Magneto and Xavier were not written around Malcolm X and Martin Luther King originally. Stan Lee said it himself that was something that evolved over time. And a lot of the characters that were written after Stan Lee had created them became something else because other writers had tried to evolve the characters. The whole point of X-Men was just a simple, hokey bad guy versus good guy. And Magneto was the bad guy, Xavier was the good guy, and he had a team, and that was it. Like, it was just very straightforward. It was cheesy, and it was, I'll get you, X-Men, and we'll get you next time, and all that stuff like that. But as the comic book industry started to falter, and so they got new writers, and they started correlating things, that's how that dynamic between those four became a thing. It wasn't the original idea of those characters. So seeing how it applies to this show now is pretty badass. I don't know what they're going to do with Storm at this point, because let's face it, the first 2 episodes that she was in, she was already busted. She was tearing up the entire freaking stuff, and like at this point, she was like a get out of jail free card for the rest of the cast, because literally when the cast was getting in trouble, Cyclops like hit the button and was like, yeah, just go ahead and
I really like that sequence though.
Yeah, right. Like, and immediately she comes in and starts this fucking shit up. On paper, her and Jean Grey are probably the most busted characters.
Omega level.
Yeah, Omega level crazy mutants and stuff like that.
When they said that, I was like, finally, to give her respect.
Right, exactly. Yo, hand of applause. Thank you. That's what I'm saying, bro. Because in the original X-Men, she's
nerfed her in the movies.
You're right. Even in the movies, she wasn't as powerful as she is on paper. You know what I mean? In this show, they know, like, they get it. Like, no, she's crazy right now. So, yeah, Storm being the Omega level mutant that she is, it makes sense that they had to nerf her like almost immediately at the start of the series. Well, it's not the start; it's the second episode. But like it's gonna be interesting to see where they go with the character at this point. Like, what do you do with a character that is supposed to be a mutant but now doesn't have the powers to be able to do what she's known for, right? And with Jean Grey, they basically said that she's over the whole Phoenix saga, right? She's over it, I guess. So now she's moving on to just being a mother and you know, taking care of her kid. She still has the psychic powers, but the real question comes down to is are they going to try to revisit that? Because they did show snippets of it and she did talk about it, but what's the point of revisiting the Phoenix saga when you have all of this new kind of story to tell? You know what I mean? I think it's kind of irrelevant at this point. So you don't have the real push to focus on Jean, and you don't have the push to have I guess Storm be in the story at all. All you have is the rest of the cast, and they're pretty badass as their own. But if you look at this screen that I'm looping right now, there are 2 other characters that are at the start of this. Like, here, I'll show you right now. There are 2 other characters. Where is it? Oh, jeez. Okay, one other character. There's one other character that isn't being shown yet. So I'm curious to see if there's going to be another character that actually shows up that helps out the X-Men and becomes part of the team later on, which would be kind of interesting because it could be Psylocke, right? It could be
Colossus too.
It could be Colossus, right? It could be Psylocke, it could be Colossus. Any of the characters that Morph literally turned into. Again, I don't know if Morph is actually that powerful to where he actually adapts the powers of the other characters. I just know that
pretty sure it's new.
I'm pretty sure it's new, right? Like they said, oh no,
like levitation and what is it called, psionic powers, but not like, you know.
Ooh, that's a good call, Nightcrawler. That's actually a great call because even in the original series, I think Nightcrawler didn't show up until later. He wasn't like an original part; like he actually came in a little afterwards. So no, Nightcrawler, yeah, that's actually a really good call. Again, I still want Psylocke though, so fuck all that. But no, literally the entire cast is extremely well written. I want to see the dynamic or the love triangle between Rogue, Magneto, and Gambit.
Yeah, instead of Cyclops, Jean, and Logan.
Yeah. I think
now there's 2 of them, so you know.
Damn. Damn. So you think Wolverine's about to say, "Nah, okay, I'm gonna get this one."
Yeah.
I actually never liked the whole love triangle between Wolverine and Jean because one, Wolverine never really loved Jean. It was only because of the fact that she had red hair and that like it wasn't PTSD, but it took him back to his original love interest, which was the woman that he fell in love with way back when he was a kid. And since that whole scenario was wiped from his memory, the only thing he remembers is the girl with the red hair. But in comic book lore, this is the reason why he had such an attraction to Jean in the first place, is because she reminded him of his original love interest that was way back in like the early 1900s or shit, like when he was still a kid. So he doesn't give a shit. He actually doesn't. It's just because of
then
that.
They did it in everything else afterwards, and like the movies.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they did it.
But you know what doesn't do it? X-Men Evolution.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, they didn't really because I felt like they didn't really need to focus on it. It wasn't really there wasn't a point
in
for
that
you
he
know?
was more of like a teacher in that. So.
Exactly, and I didn't like that. I didn't like the fact that he was the leader. The only reason why they did that is because he was the most popular one. Like that was the real.
No,
reason.
that was the other show.
Yeah, yeah. Wasn't it called like Wolverine and the X-Men? Yeah, where they made him the leader. I was like, that's dumb.
They did that because of the movies.
Yeah, because
because he was popular.
Yeah, he's the popular guy. So let's make a cartoon around him, and it's like, no, that's dumb. Like he is the rebel. Like that, he's not the leader. Like he's the rebel of the group. So, it makes sense to make him continue that as the rebel. So, Wolverine was definitely he wasn't older. It was the rest of the cast that was just younger. That was the difference. Yeah.
In Evolution,
yeah, in Evolution, I like that. I think Jubilee is also well written, but again, as the young one in the cast, I don't feel like she has much of a place except for to relate to the other guy who was, I think his name was Sunspot.
It was a role,
Sunspot,
a role reversal, because like she said in the beginning, that was like in the first few episodes of X-Men, she didn't know what the hell was going on. She's
right.
That gives her some development.
Yeah, so she's the bridge.
Yeah, absolutely. I think her and Bishop need development as far as the pacing of the show. If we really want to, adapt those characters in there, it's nice to see them, but to ignore them at this capacity seems kind of weird. She has her place. She absolutely has her place, but Bishop.
Well, here's the thing too. It could be cool to finally see her do cool stuff, right? Because a lot of times when you had that video arcade, nobody wanted to play her, even though Storm, Dazzler and with the same character, nobody wanted to play with her.
Right,
so,
right. So is
they'll do some cool stuff.
Is she the replacement of Dazzler, or is Dazzler actually a different person?
Well, they're different characters, but they do like the same thing.
Okay, so I get you. So it wasn't like, they just completely erased Dazzler and put her in. That's not that. It's the fact that Dazzler is a different person, but she's just not there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. Dazzler tried to Riz Summers. Relax. So far, this has been an absolutely phenomenal series. The dialogue, the characters, the story, animation not so much, but they
at times.
Yes, animation not so much at times. But overall, is it gonna be weekly, right? That each episode for like 10 episodes or whatever. Like I cannot stand that. Why give us 2 episodes? Just give us the whole damn thing. Come on. That shit is so
it gets more people talking about it every week. It goes more viral every week. People discuss it.
Awful. Let me watch how much I want to watch. Don't have me sitting there waiting while people spoil stuff later on. Because
you binge something, it kind of just fades away, though.
Yeah.
I never had that issue. I never had that issue.
Really?
No. If I binge something, I take it all in because I'm watching it like a movie.
I don't know. I feel it's more exciting because then you gotta wait for next week. I don't know. I like that feeling.
Same.
You guys like that?
The excitement. You're like, God damn, and it gets you talking about it, right? I mean, because then you can talk about discussions every episode. Yeah, you get discussions every episode and stuff. And I feel you though. It's like it's so good, you want to keep watching.
I want to. Yes, give me the absorption of everything. Jesus.
Yeah, I want it right now. I need to know.
So I guess
here's the thing.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Storm having losing her powers, she could possibly get to her arc where she uses magic.
Magic?
Right, Storm is a very well-known magic user.
What? Her dad is the Shadow King, right?
Wait, where did you get that from?
Yeah.
Dude,
it's real.
It's real. She is crazy in mysticism. So, dude, maybe she has a season where she doesn't even have her storm power. Now she's, using her mysticism.
Damn, I didn't even think of that. Holy shit.
That's what I was thinking.
I've never heard of her using magic powers. That's crazy. I didn't know that.
Actually pretty nasty with it.
Well, so I'm guessing this was in a series where she was like had a thing with Black Panther. Is that because there was because she had a thing with I think Black Panther and
they were married.
Yeah, they were married, right? And they also had a kid. So is that where she started like learning her magic or some shit? Is that what you're is that what you're talking? Because you're talking about comic books, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. No, I never heard of that. I've never heard of that.
She unlocks like magical powers.
Wow.
So it just that takes her.
So in other words,
Omega
she becomes even more OP.
Well, she's one of the most OP characters in Marvel.
Yeah.
Like,
And that I do
heroes,
know.
like when she's like, even like with her power, Storm, she's like Omega level. And then when she gets the because of her ancestry, she gets just like, it's almost like Black Panther with his ancestors and stuff like that. So
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So that would be sick if like you have a season where she's just focused on her magic abilities.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, man, like fucking hell, man. It's just like you get to see Storm be Omega level and then she gets hit by that gun. You're like, God damn it.
Yeah, it's like I knew we were gonna do that. I absolutely knew that was gonna happen. As soon as
why did you do this to me?
I don't think it's gonna last.
No, you don't think so?
Because they did that to Magneto in the movies, remember?
Well, here's the thing. I think when she got shot, I thought they were actually going to off her. I thought that's where they were going.
A little bit.
Yeah, I thought they were going to actually take her out, but then it just takes away her powers, and I was like, okay, I get where they're going with this. This actually could work out very well for her own arc and stuff like that. So, no, that's actually really good. Thus far, though, I think the character with the best arc, hands down, is Magneto. Like 100%.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah,
like a billion percent, right? Like, and this is only 2 episodes in, and he's already got a really great redemption.
I think Cyclops will be out there too.
Oh yeah. Well, here's the thing: they finally gave Cyclops his due. They they made him cool, and it's not. And they showed it's not easy to be the goddamn
the leader of the stuff like that. He you know what they're doing? He's still the stickler that he is. He's still the stick in the mud that he is. But they're giving you his side of being why he is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As opposed to when you look at the original series, you don't get it because Xavier is still there. So why is he such a dick? Because he's brown nosing fucking Xavier. That's how it comes off as anyway.
Well, that's how it comes off. And
exactly.
Makes it seem like that, like
But when you look at it from here, you get the whole he finally got the death certificate and now it's finally hitting him. So now he's like, he's lashing out sometimes and he's very stern, and everyone else is
he's not ready for it. Yeah.
He's not exactly. He's not ready for the leadership role that he's been given and stuff like that, and he doesn't know how to lead the rest of the cast as well as Xavier does, and so this is why he acts the way he does. So absolutely, makes perfect sense on how this character is. So when he finally comes to terms with the fact that Magneto might actually be legit, he starts to calm down a little bit, and so it's like, here, I got some coffee for you and everything like that. And at the same time, when he finds out that Jean is pregnant, he's like, okay, maybe it's time to, I have to leave my post. You know what I mean? Like, fuck it, I gotta dip. And and he still kicks himself for what had happened when he left. He was like, damn, I should have been there. You know what I mean?
Oh
yeah. So no. Character arc, absolutely amazing for that character as well. So all in all, this show thus far is a solid 9 out of 10. I would give it 10 out of 10 if it wasn't for the jank animation.
Some of the animations that are 100%.
Yeah,
like the other stuff carries it so hard that you can kind of look past it because the guy does look like Reacher, or whatever that.
Absolutely,
show.
and like the chat was talking about, where they needed to see Rogue's cakes. I don't notice it.
One frame.
One frame.
She's still fine.
One frame.
What makes Rogue sexy is her personality.
Yes,
absolutely.
Absolutely.
It's not that one frame of cake that
it's her confidence. It's absolutely her confidence.
Her sassiness.
Yeah,
that's what gets you. Damn, I love this woman.
Yep, absolutely.
But dude, did you know that one of the main animators is a Marvel 2 player?
Yeah.
Right. So something about and I saw it on Twitter, something about and he actually, was it him who actually retweeted it? But he said like one of the animations was supposed to be a cyclone kick.
Yeah, he was gonna put he put in a cyclone kick, but I guess it didn't make the final cut.
Right. Which is kind of insane. Like I would have loved to see that actually
cyclone kick.
Yeah, actually come on to fruition in the game. So again, because of the fact that I didn't have any high expectations, I didn't think that somebody had that kind of love for the source material, because that is rare now. Like you don't see that. but somebody that is actually that can come out today and say, yeah, I was going to do this. You know that there's love behind this, and that there's going to be people that actually have a passion for the source material, and they're actually gonna do it right, you know?
Yeah, the animator said that Cyclops was his anchor, and it totally shows. It 100% shows that it was like, oh, dude, yeah, this guy really played Cyclops, and that's his anchor.
Yeah, for sure,
dude.
The other thing was that those little Sentinel blasters were supposed to be references to the Mega Buster.
Oh, that Mega Man.
Yeah.
No way. And you know what? It kind of looked. I was like, dude, what the heck? Like, I'm looking at the picture right now. I'm like, huh. Yeah. I'm looking at the picture right now. Hold on. Let me see. Yeah, because I was like, that's a little crazy how let's see.
Yeah, and you can see all the poses.
Yeah, look at the Mega Busters. Exactly. Yeah. That is legit a straight up take on Mega Man for sure. They're even holding it like a Mega Buster.
Yeah.
Like there's no reason to hold your the hand on the Mega Buster just to blast it. You can just blast it. Like just go right ahead. It's cute. It's great. It's great little references that actually work out very well for that.
But tell me about that scene where they're flying in the X-Jet and then they freaking rip off the roof and they fall.
Yeah, no, that's from the movie.
But then they all fall, and then it's like, dude, Cyclops is like, that. Okay, everyone's good. Okay,
and then he lands with his heat.
Yeah, it was like they practiced that.
Yeah, they were waiting for that. Yeah, exactly. Like they knew what to do in that situation and shit. Yeah, no, that was badass. And he does like the 3-point landing, and then he calls everybody to him, and then no, it was bad. Come on, it was
come to me, bro. That shit was fucking fire,
bro. They
that
knew
was
exactly
in the movie theater. The movie theater would be fucking roaring, bro.
Yeah, no, they knew exactly what to do when it came to that that part right there is freaking badass. You think Rogue and Magneto is weird? I think Magneto and Mystique was weird, but I mean that's been a thing for like the longest time, you know. So that works out for them. When it comes to Jubilee, I don't think she'll do much, but like continue the whole dynamic between her and Solar, as I want to say Solaire, but Solar, and when it comes to Beast, who we haven't talked about. Beast is just Beast. I don't think he's really changed much.
No, he's still like quoting, famous writers,
Shakespeare and
Mark Twain,
and stuff like that. So, Beast is just doing what he does. But it would be nice to see those characters as well get an arc in their own storyline as well. But again, you can only do so much, right? You can only do so much and focus on the characters that are going to work well for a story like this, and as of right now, they're doing a great job. I wanted to complain when Magneto first showed up, and I'm like, he should be arrested for all the crazy stuff that he's doing.
And then he gets arrested.
Like, oh, I'm like, okay, they get it. Like, okay, like that makes perfect sense. I want to see what they're gonna. They seem to be mentioning Genosha a lot. I wonder if they're gonna actually. Showcase the mutants that are over there and stuff like that. Yeah. Is Genosha supposed to be in the sky or something? Like, or is it just an island? It's just an island. Okay, it's just an island. Okay, so then
the meteor got destroyed.
Right, which was Genosha, right? Or no? That was a meteor that was Genosha, and then that got destroyed.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Asteroid M, yeah.
Asteroid M, yeah, that's what it was. Okay, yeah, I got it. Okay. Okay, that was Asteroid M. Gotcha. That got destroyed. Okay. Yeah. Well, overall, like I said, 9 out of 10. Pretty badass. So far, I'll probably give like one more review when I see the whole thing. I might not do episode to episode depending on how exciting each one is. But for right now, I kind of want to soak it all in and.
All right, do a prediction for the next few shows. Like, what do you think?
Prediction for the next show. I think what's the name? Bishop might get more of screen time. I think that they might try to kill off Morph again. And I think like you said, Storm will get an arc where she finds out how to get her powers back, because the idea of her just not having powers, like, you know, indefinitely doesn't, like, it. I don't think that fits. But I think that she will probably get it at the end of the series. I don't think she'll get it like in the show, because of already how crazy, like, insanely good she is at this point. But yeah, and I also think there will be a point where Magneto slips, and he goes like his old ways. I think there will be a point where he actually, like, he slips up. So we'll see where that goes. It feels good to have an X-Men cartoon that doesn't necessarily focus on Wolverine. Like, I'm kind of sick of Wolverine.
It's like, you know, because like
he's cool.
Yeah,
he's
cool,
fucking
but...
awesome. He's actually my favorite. He's actually my favorite X-Men, obviously. But like
the other characters need love too.
Yes, exactly. Like, come on,
Well, we're getting Wolverine in July, so
yeah. Like, I'm like, Wolverine is freaking dope. Yeah, but like other characters need to shine.
Right.
I'm thinking Magneto's gonna be like, you know what? We need to expand the team, and there's gonna be some more villains that he's gonna bring in.
Oh, okay.
Right?
And they're like, what the fuck? And he's like, no, we're gonna have to do this together. Imagine, like, so he gets some villains in there. In the team.
Quicksilver.
Yeah, like Quicksilver, you know, like some
I mean, right now with you know, the other Jean Grey, I forgot her name prior. That means that
Madeline.
Sinister is going to be probably the main antagonist.
Sinister would be sick.
Yeah, he's going to be the main antagonist. They did actually delve into Sinister in the original animated series, but I think that was like towards the, like, that was like the last season or something like that, right?
It was later on.
Yeah.
But yeah, they had Sinister, and
because I remember like literally like the last episode of the last season, Xavier like went into fucking outer space and like and like hooked up with like his long lost alien girlfriend or some shit. I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Well, because he was basically dying. He's going to die.
He
needed to contact that alien race. So then Magneto, you know, because like you said, Magneto's powers just got all the stuff. So what Magneto did is went to his head and did a little electricity, and it was able to call the, you know, his alien waifu. Right? And Magneto's power was able to touch Rogue, and you know we'll be able to touch and kiss. And like, damn, what doesn't your power do, Mr. Magneto?
Yeah, right. What does your powers do, man? Let's figure out what their power, like, what is their limits? You know what I mean? Like, what are they gonna actually get away with? Again, Morph is looking crazy right now. I like, it'll be hard to write the character.
You know what he's like, Steve? He's like Rogue in X-Men, the not Mutant Academy, the other show. Remember Rogue? And she had everyone's power dormant, so she was literally
that was in the one of the animated series. I believe it was Evolution. I could be wrong.
Evolution.
And
she had like a little Terminator moment.
Right. She literally, like, she couldn't control it, and she was at a point where they were all going off at once. So that's an interesting storytelling. There is another character, I cannot remember his name for the life of me, but there is another character who literally has the same powers as hers, but he keeps it.
There's two of them.
There's a character that was out there.
They're just copies.
That's literally able. But he doesn't need to touch you. He needs to be in the vicinity of you. If he's in the vicinity of you, he can take your powers and he can keep it. And so that character was also a comic book character that was well overlooked, extremely overlooked.
Mimic.
I think it was Mimic. I could be wrong. It's the same thing with saying where's Colossus? You know, like Mimic turned into Colossus for like half a second. So that means that he's not gonna, like, so Colossus is not gonna show up or something like that. We have no idea, you know. So it just depends on where they decide to go with that overall. Kenny, final thoughts.
Easy 9 out of 10. I agree with like everything you guys have said. Like the only reason it's not 10 out of 10 is just sometimes you'll notice the animation, or you'll notice the art style for a second, and it'll take you out for a bit, but everything else is so fantastic. You're like, damn, okay, I'm back in, you know. But you're like, oh, just for a half second, you're like, oh shit. That's why it's not a 10 out of 10. Like, there are companies that do 3D cell shaded much better than this. Like if you look at I think I talked about it, Blue-Eyed Samurai, same technique, and the show's gorgeous in every single frame.
Right, but is that a series or is that like an actual series? That's a series. Oh, okay, okay.
It's a series on Netflix.
Oh,
And,
okay.
it's kind of the same technique, 3D, cell shaded to look 2D, and fucking every frame is a masterpiece.
So then you got to ask yourself, where are they getting the budget to do something like that? You know, like how did they get the budget?
I think it's the art style of this. They tried a little bit too hard to make it look like the original, with some of the thick lines, and some of it kind of just will take you out for a half second.
Right.
But yeah, like if you look up just like random stuff from Blue Eyed Samurai, he's like, God damn, you can. It's hard to tell.
The character I'm talking about, his name is Sync.
Sync, yeah.
Yes, Sync is a X-Men character. He's from a new generation of X-Men, actually.
Yeah.
And he has the power to literally
that's him.
Steal, not steal, but he takes your mutant ability and he keeps it. So at a certain point, he could become like the most powerful mutant of all time, because he was capable of basically being what's the character, Amazo, who just takes your powers and just runs with it, and now you can't stop him because he has everything. So yeah, no, Tink is another character that had the potential to become a mega level mutant if he had the capabilities to get to it. But since he's from a particular future that none of the original X-Men are there, he was just doing that from other characters and stuff like that. But yeah, no, I remember Sync as well. He had like he had like this rainbow effect, and if you were caught in his rainbow effect, he would just take your powers. It's nuts. Crazy stuff that happens with the characters. But all right, there you have it, chat. X-Men 97, kick ass so far. Complete shock to me. I mean, I don't know. Were you guys anticipating this to be good?
I didn't know what to expect. My expectations were just like, well, okay, because like we all know that the current MCU has been sucking.
Yeah,
and like some of the others, even like the other stuff, like what was it? The What If was actually pretty solid. Like
the last season wasn't the best. I thought a lot of stuff was hit and miss with the last season. But at least it's pretty decent.
Yeah. At least it's pretty decent. But like everything else, and Marvel has been like kind of on the wolf side.
Yeah,
so,
thank goodness for What If and Loki. I think Loki.
What If and Loki have been like holding it down.
Yeah,
but everything else has been like Yeah. So at the most, I thought maybe it could be a 6 or something like that. But like I didn't have crazy expectations. I didn't think it was gonna be trash. Okay, let's give it a shot.
Well, here's the thing. So even with What If, even with that, I'm just kind of like, there's too many MCU-isms here, and it's just all related back to that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So this is why I really appreciated this, because it's its own thing, right?
Right. It's not trying to mold the MCU together and like tie in a bunch of stuff.
And it just goes back to the stuff that we loved back in the day, right? And that's why I really liked the show, because just everything about it was strong start. It was beautiful. The whole point of the X-Men, you have these life lessons and the reason why I love them is that it's not ham-fisted, it's in favor of the story.
Yeah.
And it supports the characters.
You know what's crazy? With all the crazy powers that all the characters have and the dynamic of what they can actually do, at the end of the day, it always comes down to the story of the characters and what is it that the plot line of what they're trying to actually show. Again, when you look at
for them to interact.
Yeah, it's crazy because like, what was it? The best X-Men movie was Days of Future Past.
Yeah.
And that was just them talking. A lot of it was just them talking, and
it's about the character interaction.
It was about the character development. It was so crazy because I go back and I look at that movie and I'm like, bro, there wasn't that crazy amount of action. It was just a dynamic between humanity realizing that this is the evolution of man and we are going to be replaced. What do you do in that situation? You have to fight for your survival. So.
Yeah, and there's that interesting thing going around like I think around Infinity War where everyone, I think Max talked about it, where he's like, I don't care about the fighting if I don't care about what's going on.
Yeah.
He always says that.
Yeah, he always says that. Yeah.
Right?
And that's the dynamic. When I always talk about fight scenes and stuff like that, because I love power levels. I like to know what characters are capable of. I like to know what their limits are and how they use that in a particular fight or in particular battles and stuff like that. But if you have a story of those characters and it's not written well, I don't care what their limits are. You know, like it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, it's just a bunch of people just shooting stuff and firing lasers and all that stuff like that, and there's no attachment to it. And I think that's what really sells it for a lot of these things is how do you get that build up to those moments, and that's what makes it special. Yeah.
And you know what it did that the boys did that.
The boys definitely has a tendency to do that.
When they finally got to Homelander and they had that fight scene, it wasn't the most insane, but it was the build up, and it was like, holy shit, they're finally fighting, and it's just like you're like, god damn.
I kind of
because it was the build up to it. It was
the
emotion of it.
I kind of felt that way more with Endgame, like the build up towards the final fight between them and Thanos. Or the build up towards the ending of into the Spider-Verse, into the Spider-Verse. At that ending is because of build up. Like there's no impact to that ending of them all coming together to go and help Miles Morales. There's that would mean nothing if it wasn't for the story of what he did all the way through that.
Exactly.
And them coming together at the end of that.
People,
and how it changed everybody. Like that's the build.
I want to push back a little bit with the Endgame though. Because they kind of ruined it with killing off the first Thanos. You
thought it should have been the original Thanos?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I feel that. I feel that. Absolutely. I think. The whole threat of Thanos being a different version of him at the end of Endgame kind of brought it down. But
it takes away the emotional resonance.
It spoiled the emotional resonance. But here's the thing: that part when they finally start coming through those portals, and then Black Panther goes, "Boomba, like, they start chanting the shit, and they all start coming through those portals slowly.
Yeah,
that was fucking insane. The entire theater had chills. Like everybody was losing it because you finally got to see those characters come back after so long, and you realize the impact of the build that they were setting up for at that moment. Now, of course, yes, Thanos himself wasn't that, like, oh, okay, well, it's just another version of Thanos, whatever. But that moment is what I'm kind of really getting at, as opposed to the actual end fight and stuff like that.
I agree, but I feel like it would have hit harder if they actually,
had the original. Absolutely. Yeah.
But I agree with you.
Yeah. Absolutely. It definitely would have 100%. Yeah, there you go, chat. X-Men 97, kick-ass.
Yep. Nines from all of us.
Yeah, thanks to Kenny. Thanks to Bruce over here. I appreciate you guys.
Of
course. I can't wait to see more. This is going to be kick-ass. And
we'll have to do when he gets all the way to the last episode. We'll do it again.
Yeah, for sure. If could you? Here's the thing. Imagine if it gets worse.
They jump the shark.
That's why I
right, and they just start fucking up the story, and you're just like, yeah, I don't want to talk about it anymore. You're like, I just don't want to do this anymore. Like, I'm so sick of.
I have faith.
I'm so sick of just reviewing stuff that I don't like. Like, I want to review stuff that I like. I don't want to. Of course. I'm so tired of it, man. I'm over just complaining about stuff, bro. Like, we know this stuff is bad, and I'm just like,
everyone knows it.
I don't like it anymore. It's like, ugh, like I'm done.
It's a waste of energy.
It's a waste of energy. I just want to talk about stuff that I like. Like, how about that? Let's do that.
Yep.
So, X-Men is kick-ass. I want to see more of it, and here's to the future of how this stuff. And shouts out to the animators and the writers of this. I'm glad to see people actually that know the source material and have a true vision of where the story should go with this. Now, again, this might be comic book accurate with what they're doing, but at least they're giving us a new perspective of how the characters move forward in the series. So pretty badass.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, man.
And the last thing before I leave, I loved how Magneto bowed to freaking Storms. Like, yo, I'm top tier, you're top tier.
Yeah, he said. He said you're the most. You're the most elegant. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, of how she was and stuff like that. It's like, oh yes, I definitely understand how beautiful. But he stood his ground. He was like, understand, this isn't by choice. Like, you guys don't really have a choice. You guys will respect me. But then that's when Ro comes in and tells him, like, listen, like, you got to earn that respect. You know what I mean? You got to earn their trust. Like, don't try to force it. You know what I mean? So Cool. I would love to see more. Give me more. Give me more.